Hello Stampers! I've got a Beachy type card for you today, and we're going to be using this great crab from the Seaside Bay Stamp Set from Stampin' Up, along with these seashell images. This is such a fun stamp set to work with. It has all kinds of course, beach things. These birds are just super cute, and you have a clam with a pearl in it. And just some great sayings, and this is just an all-around wonderful stamp set. And I'm also bringing in the Seashells 3D embossing folder. I use that in this background here, and it's so great to use for anything beach related, I think. So we're going to be using that, and it's the perfect combination to go with this stamp set. So we're going to get going. I'm going to have all the dimensions for the layers and such down below this video. Just click show more and you'll see them all listed there, along with all the product links. That'll take you directly to my online store where you can shop 24/7. So we're going to start with our little main panel for our crab, and I die cut using the layering circle dies from Stampin' Up, a 2.5-inch circle out of basic white, and then we're going to also need a soft suede circle that's 2 3/4 inch. We have those two pieces. We're going to set the soft suede one aside for later, but we're going to start on this one where we have our crab. And I'm going to start with some Crumb Cake ink and a blending brush. And I'm just going to start blending this crumb cake around this circle here. I want it darker on the outside edges and much lighter on the inside where our crab is going to go. The lighter that you are in the center, the more your colors will pop when you color your crab in. So there is that. And then while I have that crumb cake out, I'm going to go ahead, there's this dotted stamp that I'm going to use. I like how this is arched. It's perfect to go around this circle. Just adding those little dots in to create our sand look. This is also with Crumb Cake. There we go. So we have that done. And next I'm going to take some soft suede, and we're going to go around kind of the edges of our circle here. Get a little darker with our brown. So soft suede. And I'm trying not to cover up all of my crumb cake ink. And while we have our soft suede out, I'm going to go ahead and do some of these same dots just on the edges to get kind of darker with our little spots in our sand area here. There we go. So that was our soft suede. So now we're going to stamp our crab, and I've tried a couple different colors on scrap paper to figure out what colors I wanted it, and I came up with, if you stamp it in Pacific Point, it's almost like the perfect blue for these crabs. So I'm just going to stamp it with Pacific Point in the center of our circle here. And I think that's even pretty just by itself, but we're going to give it some color. And I'm going to start coloring it in with our markers here that I'm using Stampin' Blends. And I'm going to start out with light pumpkin pie. And I'm going to color in kind of like the claws here, little pinchers. And a little color to all the legs. Okay, and then I'm going to use Dark Pool Party And I'm going to add that to the body because I wanted it kind of two-toned here. And I think this looks great together. And then I'm just going to add a little bit to the bottom of the legs where they attach to the body. So that was Dark Pool Party. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of light Cajun Craze. And I want to add some of that just on the very edge of this crab shell. And then I'm going to add some to the outside of the pinchers and just a line of it on each leg. That makes it quite colorful. You could get really wild, you know, use whatever colors you want to use for this. So there's that. And then I want to add a little depth. I want it to look like it has a shadow that it's kind of raised above the ground, like it'd be walking. So I'm adding a light smoky slate all behind these legs. And that gives the illusion that it's casting a shadow on that sand. So it brings it up off the paper a little bit. Okay, so we got our coloring all done. Now I'm going to set our little crab away from us here, and we're going to work on this background panel. I wanted a beachy scene kind of in the background here, so this is what we're going to be creating. And I'm going to do this with just direct to paper. This goes together really fast when you use direct to paper. Now I'm going to use this short end of the ink pad, and I'm going to have it at a tilt. The more flat you have it, the more like solid color you're going to get. And I want this to look like wispy streaks across the paper, so I've got it at a pretty good tilt here. And I'm just going to use light pressure. And this is our pool party. And then next I'm going to bring in some Pacific Point, and I'm going to do that exact same thing. I'm going to use a light touch here, and I'm just bringing in some of this blue to make like streaks in the water. Now that Pacific Point will go on pretty dark if you press harder, so I wanted it light. And then for our sand, I'm going to use Crumb Cake. I'm going to do that same thing. I'm just going to turn it this direction, come in this side, and I'm just going to put that same light pressure there, and there we have our sand area. Goes on really quick. And then I'm going to do my images for my seashells and the dots in the sand. I'm going to use soft suede. So I have the seashell stamp here, and I'm just going to give it a stamp here in the sandy area. And then I'm going to use that dotted stamp that we used earlier on that circle. I'm going to add some dots in the sand here. There we go. So there is our beachy scene. And because we did direct to paper, it goes in really quick. Okay, so we have that, and now we can start putting our card together. So I have a soft suede panel. Now I cut two panels this size. I cut two that are 4 by 5.25, and one I embossed using the Seashells 3D embossing folder, and this is soft suede. And then the other one that I cut goes on the inside of our card. So this is a pool party card, and it's 5.5 by 8.5, and I folded it in half to create my quarter card. And then inside I have that soft suede panel, and then I have a crumb cake panel that's 3 3/4 by 5. Now I have this embossed panel, and I embossed this, by the way, using the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And then I'm going to layer my little background panel here. I'm just going to glue it on using multi-purpose glue. You use whatever adhesive you like. And I just have it over here to the left side. I left a nice little trim here, that soft suede showing. Okay, and then I'm going to add my soft suede circle. And I'm going to add this out to the edge pretty much. There we go. And then I'm going to do this little ribbon treatment here. So I have the Olive and Sahara Sand Twill Ribbon Combo Pack. This is a great pack to pick up. These are great neutrals. And I want a good sized piece of this ribbon. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to tie a couple knots in one side of it. And you want to make sure you leave enough of that trim that you can go around the back of your card with. So there's one knot. And then I want to add another knot right next to it. I just thought this looked a little more nautical than like a bow. So I'm making that knot next to the other one. There we go. And then we'll put it on our card. You have to figure out which way you like it. I think I like it on that direction. And then I'm going to have it going through that circle halfway, like right in the middle. And I'm going to turn it, make it go as far into that background panel as I can, because I have this crab panel that it's going to come on here, and I don't want this knot to get in the way. So figure out where you want it. And then I'm going to put it on the back. I'm going to adhere it with a little mini glue dot. Press that in there. There we go. And then you just trim whatever excess you have off. There we go. And the reason I used such a large piece of ribbon, I tried it with just kind of measuring just a little bit out, and I couldn't get my knots in the right place, and I wanted to have enough room to shift it one way or the other. Okay, so there is that. And now I have my main little crab piece here, and I'm going to put it on with Stampin' Dimensionals, give it a little popped up look. And I want to make sure that I'm putting it on the top and on the bottom of this piece. And it's nice that you can kind of see your crab outline there, so you know which is the top and which is the bottom. Because you don't want it in the middle, because that is where your ribbon is going to run behind. You don't want to kind of have a lump there. Okay, so just center that up where you want it. Give it a little press. And there's our card front. And we're going to attach it to our main panel here. Our card base. We're going to attach it to our card base is what I should be saying. Okay, so there we have it. And then I just want to put a piece on here just to kind of break up some of that blue right there. And it just adds a little bit like a design to your card. And I have this is a 1/2 inch by 2.5 inch piece of soft suede. I'm just going to flag one end of it. I'm just going to put a line at the bottom and then from the corners in to make little triangles. There's one, and do the other side just to make my flag. I'm just going to add a little glue here. And this I'm going to put on right under those knots. And I'm going to have it go up to the very top of the card. Have it straight there. Give it a little press. And there is our card front. Now you can put any sentiment you want in. There's room here. You could stamp a sentiment also. I'm leaving mine blank because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. So I'm going to add some white gel pen, and I'm just going to add a little bit on these seashells. I'm adding little lines in them. I'm not coloring just one big lump on the seashells. I'm making little lines, the direction of the line of the seashells. There we go. And then I want to add a little bit to the crab. So the front of these legs, I'm going to add a thin, very thin line of this white gel pen. And that makes your crab pop a little bit more. Just by adding that little highlight there. And I'm going to go on the front of the little claws. And I'm even going to add a little to the front of the shell a bit. There we go. Just for a bit of pop. After you added those great white gel pen highlights to your crab and your seashells, it's always nice to come in with just a little bit of bling here. And so I have the faux sea glass shapes, and these are self-adhesive, so they're a lot of fun to use, especially these beach themes. You can just add them along with your seashells. And there's 3 colors here, and I'm just going to add a couple here and there. I just think they're cute. You know, they're those typical sea glass colors. And there you have it. Just a nice little way to top it off. Now that's our card for today. I hope you enjoyed this project and that you give it a try. It's a lot of fun. It comes together pretty fast. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Toodles.